Hello everybody, this is Cesar and Bender. And today outside is really very windy, it's snowing, it's very cold, so we are not going to go out today, we are going to stay at home, fixing some guitars. Okay? Hey Bender, say hello to everybody. Hello. Say hello to Cue Ball, Randy, this is Bender. So let's go and fix some guitars, Bender? Okay, what do you think? Should we fix some guitars? Yeah, okay. Well, I have received several private messages on my YouTube channel about the action on the silent guitar, on the Yamaha Silent Guitar. By the way, thank you really very much. The video of the review is reaching very quickly the 7,000 visits. I'm really flattered. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of you who watch my channel and comment in my channel. Anyway, some of the people are having a concern about the action of the Yamaha Silent Guitar, and some of you are mentioning that you received the guitar with a slightly high action coming from the factory, right? It was my case, and I fixed it. I explained it on the video. I said on the video that I fixed it, but I didn't explain how, so this is what we are going to do today. I'm going to explain how to fix the action on the Yamaha Silent Guitar. Well, so in my case, what was happening is that I was having too much of a saddle here, right? So the strings were relatively high to my taste, and that was affecting the action in the guitar. So I'm going to show you what I did. But if you really want to see professionals doing this, you have a couple of very good channels. You have Dave's World of Fun Stuff, probably you all know, he's a very famous guy in YouTube. But I have to say that the one from Randy Schartiger, I'm going to put the link below on the description, is really very good. Randy is a fantastic guitar tech, he's a very good guitar player too. And on top of that, he is a fantastic person. He always finds time to answer, time to comment. So really thank you, Randy, very much. And all of you, please, all my subscribers, if you can just step on Randy's channel, you will learn massively from him, you know, about adjusting saddles and fixing guitars. I am not a guitar tech, I am a guitar player, but well, I do some things myself, and this is what I want to show you because I have received some questions, right? Now, this is a particular guitar because underneath this saddle there is a piezo, and unless you are very mindful of what you do with your saddle, what is going to happen is that the piezo is not going to capture correctly the sound if we screw up adjusting the saddle. So I'm going to show you what I did. Well, first of all, you need to know what is the action that you really want to have. What is the action that makes you feel comfortable with the guitar, and on top of that, what is the action, the minimum action that will allow you to play the guitar without having fret buzz. And in this particular guitar, it is very important because you don't have a truss rod. You cannot adjust, we cannot adjust the truss rod. This is the model with nylon strings. The one with strings, with steel strings, by the way, I'm ordering one, so I would be able to show you how it sounds. Apparently it's fantastic, because it has incorporated new technology to the preamp, right? Well, anyway, the idea is that if you screw up here, you are going to have difficulties with the guitar because it does not have a truss rod, so you cannot get relief, additional relief on your fretboard, on your neck. Now, that's why it's so important that you go to the correct height of the saddle and you don't go below, because if not, you are going to have fret buzz and the guitar is going to sound horrible. So you need to know what is the action that basically makes you feel comfortable with the guitar, but you also need to know what is the minimum action you can have in the guitar without having fret buzz. So what is the ideal action? Well, there's no ideal action. So you would have the action that you like, and you would have to compromise with how low can you go without having fret buzz. In my case, and in this guitar here, the action that I got after shaving the saddle is actually around 3 millimeters in measured at the 12th thread in the 6th string, and is mostly the same at the 1st string. If you are going to operate in inches, it's around 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. How do you measure it? Well, I mean, there are many tools, this Stuart McDonald thing, whatever. I have a very simple ruler here, right, that you can buy in any hardware store, and for me it works really. I mean, so what you do is you measure here, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's around 3 millimeters, sorry, in at the 12th fret when you are looking to the 6th string, and practically the same when you're looking to the 1st string. So that was my goal in my case. That is, in my case, the action that makes me feel comfortable with the guitar, and is an action in which I am not having a fret buzz. Usually classical guitars have a much higher action. 3 millimeters is a low action for a classical guitar. Usually steel string guitars have a lower action than that, as you perfectly know. So let me show you how to do it. Well, of course, the first thing you would need to do is to take off the strings, right? Well, we are going to use this very simple string winder, right? I mean, it's a very simple one. We have more sophisticated ones, but I want to use this simple one today. And I'm going to give you an advice about the nylon strings that I know is going to be somehow controversial, and some people are not going to agree, so please comment in the channel, right? Because diversity of opinions is always welcome. These first 3 strings, the nylon ones, the ones that are not having the metallic winding around, right, behave very differently, the nylon strings, than the steel strings. And in fact, the nylon strings sound better with age. Of course, everything has a limit, so you are not going to have the string there for 20 years. Yeah? But what I mean is that, until they break, or until they really roast, right, the sound of the nylon strings get better with age. In fact, some of the flamenco players, the very good reputed flamenco players, right, try to not to change them very often, basically because the strings do sound better as far as they're played, as far as they are stretched, etc, etc, etc. This applies mostly for the nylon transparent strings. You would see that some flamenco players are playing with black nylon strings, right? Those ones, in my experience, break very, very quickly, very fast, right? And are usually high tension strings. Now, I understand that you may find this advice weird, but believe me, I know very well what I'm saying when it comes to classical guitars. So, what we are going to do, we are going to keep this string set. It is relatively fresh, so I'm going to just, unwind a little bit of on the top of the headstock here, right, and I'm going to untie them from the saddle. So now we have released the tension on the strings, right, and I thought I was going to stop for a second to show you how do I secure the strings to the bridge in a classical guitar. This is, at the end of the day, like a classical guitar, right? There are many other methods. There are people who only do one pass. There are people who tie a note. Well, do whatever makes you feel comfortable. This is the way I do it. This is where I was taught at the Royal School of Music many years ago, right? I'm playing classical guitar since I was 7, so I'm sticking to this method, I'm sorry, right? Now, the only important thing for you to know, probably, is that the remaining of the string should not touch, should not get in contact with the body of the guitar. Okay, this is the stick. This is just this is not a classical guitar itself, right? But in a classical guitar, what happens is that if the remaining of the string touches the body, when the guitar vibrates, you may hear a kind of buzz, right? And it may come from there, right? So you have to make sure that your strings are cut properly and are not touching the body of the guitar. Okay, now we have the strings out of our way, so we can take off the saddle. You see? This is the saddle of our guitar. In the Yamaha Silent Guitar, in this model, the saddle is made of tusk. And you see that immediately after the saddle, this thing has appeared, right? And this is a very thin kind of metallic device. This is the piezo. This is the responsible of sending the vibrations of the strings, right, through the saddle. Then they go to the piezo and they go to the preamp underneath, and they are transformed in sound, right? The piezo, right? Well, now, the only critical thing you need to know in this guitar, when you, or probably in all the guitars that have a piezo, when you're shaving your saddle, is that when you shave the lower part of your saddle, it needs to be perfectly even. It needs to make a perfectly even contact with the piezo, which is underneath the saddle. Because if it is not the case, you may hear more bass than treble. The volume of the treble may be lower than the bass, for example, or even the volume of each one of the strings are going to be uneven, so it's going to be very unpleasant. So the only precaution you need to have is when you shave the lower part of your saddle, please do it in a way that it's perfectly even. I did it with a Dremel machine, with my Dremel machine. I can show you in another videos, right? You can do it with sandpaper, very simple. I mean, you place the sandpaper on the table and you basically shave and shave and shave, but make sure that the lower part of the saddle is perfectly even and makes a perfect even contact with the piezo. If after doing that you are totally convinced that the saddle is even, you measure it and it's even, but when you try your guitar you hear the volume is really different from string to string, more treble, less bass, whatever, my suggestion is to place a small piece of paper or something smooth underneath the piezo in order to force the piezo up and to force the piezo to have a perfect even contact with the saddle. By the way, to one of the persons who wrote to me, I think this is your problem. I think that the issue you're having is that your piezo is not making an even contact with the saddle, right? Now, how much should you shave from your saddle? This is the $1 million US question, right? Okay, now, in Randy's channel, again I'm putting the link, on the description. In Randy's channel you will find the answer. He will give you the formula, but let me give you an example, right? The action that I wanted to achieve in this guitar is 1/8 of an inch, okay? The action that she was having is 2/8 of an inch, right? So the difference is 1/8 of an inch. The amount that you need, to take and to shave from the saddle is double of that difference. So in this case, 2/8 of an inch, right? Now, if you operate in millimeters, right? The action that the guitar was having is 4 millimeters. The action that I wanted to have is 3 millimeters. The difference is 1 millimeter. So I need to take 2 millimeters out of the saddle. Again, visit Randy's channel in case I'm fooling you, right? And please, Randy, correct me if I am wrong, if I'm not giving the right direction to the people, right? Now, again, very important, make sure that the piezo is making an even contact with, a perfect even contact with the saddle, right? And that is everything you need to know, right? That is everything you need to do when you want to adjust the action of the Yamaha Silent Guitar. This is how I did it, right? So good luck. If you do it yourself, you can do it yourself. You don't need to go to a professional, right? But if you don't feel, I would say, self-confident enough, right? Well, if you want, send it to a professional. You send it to Randy. He will do a great job, okay? Thank you very much, and see you very soon in the next video. Take care.